Back in Cincinnati, weary but winners after last night's 2-1 win in 15 innings. The D-backs bullpen has been outstanding, has not allowed a run in just under 17 innings, but they are a tired group here tonight for Game 2 of this series. So a key for Trevor Cahill will be to get deep into this one against Cincinnati's Mike Leake as the Diamondbacks go for 2 in a row over the Cincinnati Reds. Greetings from Great American Ballpark. Welcome to the broadcast. Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly along the way. It's the Diamondbacks and the Reds. Game 2 of this 3-game series. Mike Leake for Cincinnati and Trevor Cahill for Arizona. Last night, Bob, a 2-1 win in 15 innings led by the rookies, and it started with Chase Anderson.
Yeah, so many young players on this team. They need to check IDs at the clubhouse door when the guys get to the ballpark, but Chase Anderson really paced the way last night. For my money, his best outing of the year. Had tremendous fastball command. Threw enough breaking balls to keep the Reds hitters honest. Ender Inciarte showcasing that throwing arm once again, gunning down Brian Pena at home plate. David Peralta in right field. Nice diving, sliding catch. Taking away extra bases right there. Evan Marshall comes trotting in from the bullpen last night and matches Aroldis Chapman. Striking out the side, was very impressive in doing so. And Nick Ahmed, a rookie, with the game-winning hit into left field.
The season hasn't quite gone the way the Diamondbacks hoped, obviously, but this is a team clearly that never quits. They're in every game. Do you think that has something to do with the fact there are so many rookies on this team?
I think absolutely it does. You hear veterans talk about it all the time. The veterans lead by example. They tell the young guys what they should do, how they should act, and the kids just go play ball, have fun, play with some energy, and we've seen that on a daily basis.
No, they are fun to watch. They'll be back out there again tonight behind Trevor Cahill. It's Mike Leake for the Cincinnati Reds. Game 2 of a 3-game set here from Great American Ballpark. It's Trevor Cahill on the mound. First pitch is coming up. It's Arizona Diamondbacks baseball right here on Fox Sports Arizona. Glad you're with us on a Tuesday night in Cincinnati. Part by CenturyLink, your link to what's next. And by Jack in the Box. If the D-backs hit a home run today, score a free Jumbo Jack tomorrow with a purchase of a large drink.
And and welcome back. Great American Ballpark on a beautiful night here in Cincinnati. Hard to believe it's July. It's rather cool and comfortable here. Game 2 of a 3-game series between the Diamondbacks and the Cincinnati Reds. Jody Jackson with you. Steve and Bob will have the call. I want to get you set for first pitch by telling you a little bit about Trevor Cahill's season. It has certainly been a rocky one after being designated for assignment in June, going down to the minors and having to work on everything, trying to get his mechanics back. And Trevor told me it's kind of like being a rookie when he was with the Oakland A's, trying to figure things out, but do it in the middle of the season.
Sometimes, you think something might work, but it doesn't feel comfortable right away, so you have to kind of stick with it. Then, if you realize, well, it's not working, then you try and go back to the beginning, and now that kind of feels awkward too. I mean, it's just it's a long process, I guess, and it's tough to do in the middle of the year, and I'm just trying to do the best I can.
Well, this is last August here in Cincinnati. 7 innings of 1-run ball for Trevor Cahill, 7 strikeouts. It was not that long ago, but it seems like it has been all that Trevor's gone through. He's hoping to get back on track here today. He's going to be opposed by Mike Leake out there. He'll face this Reds lineup as the Diamondbacks look to make it 2 straight wins tonight against the Reds. Maybe Trevor drawing some confidence here at this ballpark from that experience last season. We shall see. It's been a struggle in Cincinnati offensively. No Votto, no Phillips. And the Diamondbacks bullpen and starter Chase Anderson did a very nice job last night. They hope to keep the Reds frustrated.
Steve Berthiaume, Bob Brenly, Jody Jackson with you. It's the Diamondbacks and the Cincinnati Reds. Kirk Gibson and company looking to make it 2 in a row here over the Redlegs, who have been reeling lately. Cincinnati slumping as of late. They have lost 2 straight and 9 of 10. They began the second half of the season, Bob, only a game and a half out in the NL Central, but now they're 6 back of the Brewers.
And the news just keeps getting worse for the Reds. Jay Bruce away from the team on the bereavement list, had a death in the family, so he will be gone. And even though he hasn't been swinging the bat well, his presence in that Reds lineup will be missed.
Let's take a look at the Diamondbacks lineup tonight in Game 2 of this 3-game set.
Ender Insarte at the top. Good to see Aaron Hill back in the lineup after getting hit in the hand a few days ago. Paul Goldschmidt batting third. Miguel Montero in the cleanup spot. Mark Trumbo out in left field. Martin Prado at third base. Gerardo Parra, great numbers against Mike Leake in his career. Didi Gregorius at shortstop tonight. And right-hander Trevor Cahill on the mound for the Diamondbacks.
And for the Reds, your Arizona Ford starting pitcher, the 26-year-old right-hander Mike Leake out of Arizona State, winless in his last 3 starts as he chases his 50th career victory.
Mike Leake, a guy that sat at the right hand of Bronson Arroyo for a couple of years here in Cincinnati, learning his craft, and very much like a young Bronson Arroyo, will mix in a two-seamer, a cutter, a curve, a slider. Will take a little velocity off all those pitches as he sees fit. Seems to have a real good feel for pitching.
No pitcher in the National League has given up more base hits than the Reds' Mike Leake. And Ender Inciarte is then there to lead it off. That's a fair ball. Pena has it at first and quickly went away. Let's take a look at the Reds defensively behind their right-hander.
You better buy a program. Donald Lutz in left field, Billy Hamilton in center, Skip Schumacher over in right field. It'll be Todd Frazier and Zach Cozart on the left side of the infield, Ramon Santiago and Brian Pena on the right side. Devin Mesoraco with a long home run to left field will be doing the catching, and right-hander Mike Leake on the mound.
And Aaron Hill back in the starting lineup for the Diamondbacks after he was hit on the right hand the other day. So this is certainly a good sign. 255 and 8 home runs. Aaron flied out as a pinch hitter last night late in the ball game, so that snapped a 10-game hitting streak. Called strike there for Mike Leake. He will be around the plate a lot. Mentioned that no pitcher in the league has given up more hits. But part of that might be because of his excellent control. He doesn't nibble too much. He's always in or around the strike zone. He's only issued 29 walks all year. This is a guy who does not give up a lot of runs despite that 7-9 record. That's more a reflection of the, well, just pitiful run support that he's received this year. It's been almost non-existent. He has worked with no margin for error, it seems, all year long. In Leake's 9 losses this year, the Reds have scored a total of 12 runs. Called strike 3. He is a strike thrower, 2 down.
It gives you a lot of different looks, a couple of two-seam fastballs, a couple of over-the-top curveballs with a lot of downward movement, and then finished off Aaron Hill with that cut fastball.
Paul Goldschmidt, 305 on the year. Now 3rd in the National League in RBIs. There's the strike, 0-1. Goldie 2nd in the National League in walks and slugging percentage, 3rd in on base and OPS. Leake jumps ahead, 0-2.
He will give up the occasional long ball as well. He's given up a home run in 7 of his last 8 starts, but just 1 in those 7 games.
Goldie 2 for 12 career against Leake. This is down and away there, a ball and 2 strikes. Two strikeouts in the inning for Mike Leake. He gets Hill and Goldschmidt. We are just underway in Cincinnati as Trevor Cahill takes the mound for the D-backs. Arizona Ford starting pitcher for the D-backs, Trevor Cahill, just his third major league start since April the 13th. And his third since his return from the minor leagues after he was designated for assignment on June the 9th. The issue here in trying to work out the mechanics, where should Trevor Cahill keep his hands? Here he is.
They've always been close to my body and by my belt. Now they're kind of chest high and out. So it just, for some reason on this stretch, I just don't feel comfortable. And I think it shows, and that's why we've just been trying to tinker and find something where I can feel how I do out of the windup out of the stretch.
That is not the sound of a confident man out there.
Not at all. I've got the solution. Just don't let anybody get on base. You never have to pitch out of the stretch.
1-7, a 5.72 ERA. Prado at third, Goldie at first, coming well in as the speedy Billy Hamilton steps into the batter's box.
Yeah, Trevor's still looking for his first win this season as a starting pitcher. He's 0-5 as a starter. His one victory came out of the bullpen for the D-backs.
And there's the defense against the fastest man in the league, Billy Hamilton. D-backs kept him off the bases last night. He was shut out, in fact, 0 for 6, 3 strikeouts, and he's at 271 on the year. And as we detailed for you yesterday, that is the key to beating this Reds ball club. Hamilton's teammates tell him before every game, you go, we go. And it's true, he has been the tone setter. Hitting over 360 when Cincinnati wins, hitting under 190 when they lose. Cahill immediately falls behind 3-1. It's full. There it is. That tells quite a story. Slaps it the other way, and that is a fair ball down the line, and Billy Hamilton's on the run. Mark Trumbo has it in the corner. Hamilton will stop at second with his 21st double.
Easy double for Billy Hamilton. He was looking for 3 all the way. Any mishandling by Mark Trumbo or an errant throw back to the infield, and he was just going to keep on running. Fortunately, Trumbo's throw back to the infield, right on target to the cutoff man, and then and only then did Billy Hamilton slam on the brakes and stay at second.
Boy, Bob, you got away. Love the way that he runs with his head up all the way, locked onto that baseball. Just looking for the slightest little opening that would let him take the extra 90 feet. Ramon Santiago getting the start at second base tonight for the Reds.
Boy, you definitely have to keep an eye on Billy Hamilton at all times, especially at second base. 13 steals of third this year among his 41 stolen bases.
Santiago 1 for his last 13 up there. He's at 253 on the year. As Bob mentioned, we saw Jay Bruce bat in this spot last night for the Reds. Bruce has had a death in the family. He's on the bereavement list and not in the lineup tonight. Inciarte has that one, and they will throw over the cutoff man and into third, but Hamilton isn't going anywhere. Let's take a look at the Reds lineup tonight. Votto and Bruce both injured, or Votto and Phillips, pardon me, both injured, and no Jay Bruce.
And this is what Brian Price has left. Billy Hamilton in center field, Ramon Santiago at second base, Todd Frazier, the all-star, down at third. Devin Mesoraco tied for the most homers among major league catchers with 17, hit a bomb last night. Brian Pena at first, Donald Lutz in left field, Skip Schumacher, the former Cardinal, out in right. Zach Cozart at shortstop, and right-hander Mike Leake on the mound for the Reds.
No Joey Votto. He has played at only 62 games all year. Back on the DL a few weeks ago with a nagging thigh injury that just has lingered and lingered. He has had 2 treatments when they inject that platelet-rich plasma into the injured part of the leg to try and speed up the healing process. And Brian Price said this weekend this is not going to be a simple recovery. So there's no timeline for Votto. Ball 1 to Todd Frazier, who, like Jay Bruce, has dropped into a slump. Reds are still without Votto and Phillips, and now they've got Frazier stuck in a 3 for 27 right now. Frazier had a tough night last night, 0 for 6, and he struck out 4 times. And he has started to look a little frustrated up there. Remember, one point last night he missed a pitch and slammed his bat down on home plate and broke it in half.
And it was only strike two.
Had to go back and get a new one. Left field, a base hit. They will wave Hamilton. Trumbo's throw is cut off. 1-0 Reds.
Not a bad pitch that time by Trevor Cahill. A hard sinker down, working its way inside. Todd Frazier with a nice quick swing. That throw one hops the cutoff man there. Martin Prado realizes they have no chance to get Billy Hamilton at the plate, so he cuts it off to make sure Frazier stays at first.
So 3 batters in. It's 1-0 Cincinnati. And careful here with big Devin Mesoraco. As Bob mentioned, he hit one to the moon here last night. Iggy will throw down there first, but Frazier's back in time. 1-0 to Mesoraco at 295. His home run here, the only run the Reds scored in 15 last night, halfway up the second deck.
Way out of here. Devin Mesoraco went through the usual growing pains at the major league level for a young catcher, but he has really settled in, especially offensively.
17 home runs. No catcher in baseball has hit more. There's a strike, 1-1. Yeah, Bob, pretty fair example here of the learning curve for catchers. This is a guy who was a high first-round pick, 15th overall in 07. But it took him 7 years of development to get to his expected level. You draft a guy that high, you want him to be an all-star. There's a long apprenticeship with young catchers.
Well, and you never really stop learning. There's always something else that you can do to help your pitchers get through a game, or move your defense, position guys accordingly. Find weaknesses in those opposing batters and find ways to exploit those weaknesses. It never really stops, but at some point in that development, you get to a place where the organization says he's ready to come up here, and the rest of the learning will take place in the big leagues.
Mesoraco just turned 26, didn't even play 100 games in the big leagues until last season. Bounce to third. Prado, Hill, Goldie. They roll the double play, and Cahill is out of the inning. But a Hamilton double, a Frazier single has given the Reds a 1-0 lead. This weekend, D-backs and Pirates. When you buy your tickets, get the most bang for your buck. Make it a D-backs value pack. That'll get you the bleacher ticket for the game, a hot dog or a Subway sandwich, a regular Pepsi, and a coupon for a free cookie. And you'll get all that for only $21. For tickets, visit dbacks.com/value. And we'll see you back home at Chase this weekend as the D-backs take on the Buccos. who are fighting it out with the Reds, and Mike Leake here in the National League Central. Miguel Montero set to lead off the second. Mike Leake a 1-2-3 first, including a pair of strikeouts. Miggy 260 and 11 home runs. And he had one of the big hits last night, a clutch 2-out RBI single in the fourth inning after Mark Trumbo had doubled that tied the ball game up at 1. That was in the fourth, and who knew he wouldn't score again until the 15th. Near the line in left, it's a long run and a foul ball right near Lutz.
Well, an odd sight today, partner. Came across on the team bus from the hotel in downtown Cincinnati. Normally it's me and Digger, Oscar Soria occasionally, Leo Gilmartin occasionally, 4 of us on a bus. Today, Kirk Gibson said, don't come before 4 o'clock. The clubhouse is going to be locked. So we had about 15 or 18 players on the team bus today.
Yeah, they usually get here much earlier in the day. After that long night last night, broken bat, nothing left but a few splinters in Miggy's hands, and Santiago will throw him out. The bat went twice as far as the ball did. Yeah, Diamondbacks did not take batting practice today, and as you said, didn't show up, most of them anyway, till about 4 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of the guys hitting the cage down right beside the visitors clubhouse here at Great American Ballpark, as you see Miguel Montero. 7 at bats, 7 outs against Mike Leake, still looking for his first knock against the Reds right-hander.
Mark Trumbo now. A couple of base hits in last night's ball game. Second straight 2-hit game from Mark, who's at an even 200. You took the bus, did you, huh?
Of course I did. Somebody has to. I feel guilty. It just sits out there empty. Somebody needs to climb on.
Way to take one for the team. It's about a 6-minute walk.
and it's all downhill coming to the ballpark.
A rigorous exercise program, as we all know. 0-2.
Well, over the many, many years I've been chasing this game around, I've come to be very good friends with the bus drivers around the league, so I don't want to disappoint.
Veteran move. Next up, you'll be taking the bus in San Diego.
Sure.
Where the hotel is attached to the ballpark. 1-2. Mark really reached down there and spoiled that one from Lee. The only reason I asked for the guys in the truck, you know, they all walked and they were a little upset that you got a ride.
Well, what can I say?
I remember you were telling me when you were playing here before, you used to take your walks over the river?
Yeah, I learned a valuable lesson. I was actually gaining weight. Leave the team hotel, walk out, go across the bridge into northern Kentucky, where I found a German bakery that made the best donuts in the world. So kind of defeated the purpose of the walk, but I got to see northern Kentucky and southern Ohio and cross the river twice. Once on an empty stomach, once on a full stomach.
Third strikeout now for Mike Leake. 2 down. Here's Martin Prado. It's a nice area to walk around down here by the river and whatnot. And a beautiful night for baseball. I tell you what, you're going to be in Cincinnati, July, August. You will not find better weather than we have here today. Just gorgeous.
Had a great crowd on hand last night. Over 30,000 here at Great American Ballpark. Looks to be about the same crowd here tonight.
We lucked out. Nice and cool. No humidity. This is on a hop to short. Zach Cozart, the backhander, and Mike Leake has retired all 6 he's faced. He leads it 1-0. Fan photo for your chance to have your fan photo shown later tonight in our game broadcast, brought to you by AT&T. And we had a little paperwork snafu last night. We went to Hall of Famer Marty Brennaman we kind of drafted him for the friendly committee, but there was a mistake in the paperwork and he got the Twitter handle wrong.
Well, it was his birthday. He had a lot on his plate yesterday. It was probably unfair of us to ask him to contribute to the AT&T fan photo, but good-naturedly he did so, and unfortunately there was a mistake.
So we will correct that later on. Actually, we'll do it right now. Here's the correction. This was the fan photo that Marty selected. Terrific photo. We did a heck of a job. But the actual Twitter address is Computer Carolyn, so we wanted to make sure we got that right. Well, Marty's not really on the Twitter. Brian Pena. Trevor Cahill. Billy Hamilton a leadoff double. He scored on a Todd Frazier single. And the Reds have a 1-0 lead. Pena, a pair of hits last night. Switch hitter. He's got the double flap helmet on. Used to wear those in Little League.
Makes it easy for the equipment man. Rather than toting around two helmets, one for each side of the plate, you just have that double flap helmet. Multi-purpose.
Hard hit to first, but right to Goldie. Tell you what, with all the equipment staff goes through, Jimmy Garrett here and Lupe, the Diamondbacks staff, those guys, you can give them any kind of a break. They've earned it.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we have a quick moment here. Let's take a look at our Valley Honda keys to the game. Turn it up to 11. A salute to Spinal Tap there. The Reds have gone 10 games scoring 3 runs or fewer. That's their longest streak since 1982. Let's make it 11.
11. Donald Lutz.
More than 10.
Swing and a miss. Lutz getting the start in left field for the Reds. This is really a patchwork lineup tonight for Cincinnati. Came back up to the big leagues in the middle of this month after a 30-game absence while he was down in the minors. This is his second stint with a big club this year. He's got 3 hits in 15 at-bats since he was recalled.
And we did mention that Jay Bruce is away from the team on bereavement, and they replaced him with another pitcher, Curtis Parch, so the Reds bench a little short tonight as well.
Diamondbacks made a similar move, sending Alfredo Marte down to the minor leagues and calling up Bo Schultz so they could get somebody back there to throw some innings if need be. Both these bullpens just gassed after last night. Lutz sends this out to right field. Gerardo Parra will have it drop in front. And Donald Lutz has a 1-out single, 3rd hit tonight against Trevor Cahill. I know Lutz used to have a big league mustache last time we saw these guys at Chase Field, and I think Brandon Phillips tweeted out a picture of Super Mario. And I think because of that, maybe Lutz has shaved the stash. The veteran Skip Schumacher. He is starting in right field. Jay Bruce on the bereavement list and not available tonight. 238 on the year for Schumacher, who struck out in a pinch hit appearance last night. And as he steps in, he is just 2 for his last 19. Skip Schumacher said he signed on to play every day here in Cincinnati, knowing that that wasn't going to be the case with the way the Reds were constructed in spring training, a team with a core group position guys who expect to be in the lineup every day. But he figured, you know, he might get his chance every day. It might come in the 7th, 8th, 9th inning, whatever. But what's happened is, with all their key injuries this year, he pretty much has played every day, only as a starter. And he can play all the time, play a whole bunch of different spots, infield, outfield. They got an extra year to come to Cincinnati, a 2-year, $5 million deal to bolster their bench. But he began his career in Cincinnati as one of 8 Reds to open the season on the DL, and things have pretty much continued that way for them all year long. 1-2 now.
Yeah, fortunately for the Reds, they're in a very competitive division, the closest competition of any division. 4 teams within 6 games of first place. The Reds, despite all their problems and injuries and ineffectiveness, are still well within striking distance.
They're making it a little harder on themselves. They've lost 9 of 10, a game and a half back at the All-Star break, now 6 back in Milwaukee, but they can certainly make that up in no time. A ball and 2 strikes. This is what it looks like for Brian Price's ball club.
And we know the Cubs are in the midst of a rebuilding process there in Chicago, but the other 4 teams in that National League Central, certainly going into the season, all felt like they had a chance to win that division, and only 6 games separating the 4 teams at the top.
Trevor Cahill gets his first strikeout, 2 down in the second. And here is yet another guy. We've mentioned some of the slumps that these Reds players are suffering through right now. It seems like every guy is going through something, but nobody perhaps in that hole deeper than Zach Cozart, the shortstop, who is 0 for his last 21. And this is a guy who started the season 0 for 22. It's been that kind of year.
Well, I'll tell you what, Zach Cozart, with the line that he has, great liar's poker hand. Look at all those deuces.
Gibson has said the D-backs staff really needs Trevor Cahill. They know he has the ability. He's done it in the past, but they just need him to get on track. His control has not been as good as it was before he left here, Gibby says, and they're hoping he commands the ball better tonight. And so far in his return from the minors, he has made 2 starts, worked a total of 9 innings, given up 10 runs, 6 earned on 12 hits, and a no decision against the Cubs. A loss in his previous start Wednesday against the Tigers. That one skips through Miguel Montero, and Lutz moves up.
Boy, Trevor's lack of command is awe-inspiring. He could throw some of the wildest wild pitches you'll ever want to see. That ball was over in the middle of the left-handed batter's box. But then he's just as likely to come right back and paint the outside corner with a backdoor sinker. Work the count back to even.
Trevor, yeah,
another curveball that time. That's what's tough for a pitching coach. How do you figure out a guy who throws one curveball 5 feet off the plate in the dirt and then drops the next one right in the middle of the strike zone?
Maybe find a psychologist and not a pitching coach. This is badly there. It's full 3-2. Trevor Cahill says he has always walked more batters than he'd like to. And he has always battled to get that strike percentage up. And he's aware that these control problems are dragging down his ceiling as a big league pitcher. To the point where he was in the minor leagues this year. Like he broke his bat. Slow roller. Gregorius has to hurry. And he gets Cozart by half a step at first base. Eric Cooper says he got him. Here comes Brian Price.
Boy, Zach Cozart could have made it a lot easier if he hits the front edge of the bag there rather than landing right in the middle of the base at first.
They're going to challenge.
Yeah, I was happened to be looking down at the Reds dugout as soon as that play was called at first base, and Jay Bell jumped up and ran in one direction. Brian Price jumped up and ran onto the field. Choreographed effort to get to their video coordinator as quickly as possible and see what happened.
If the challenge goes their way and they get the call overturned, they'll have first and third 2 outs for the pitcher spot. It's not like Joey Votto was in the on-deck circle. It's Mike Leake, who's a good hitter, but still the pitcher. Is it worth risking your challenge this point in the ball game here through 1 2/3 innings, unless you know you got a clear-cut case.
This is where you really have to trust your replay coordinator and let him know that, depending on the situation here, we don't want to waste our challenge, but if it's clear and convincing, then absolutely we want to challenge.
Looks like the heel is on the bag before the ball gets there. And so Tom Hallion and Eric Cooper are down there with the headsets on. Billy Hatcher coaching at first base. And the ruling on the field is safe. Reds win the challenge. Cozart beats it out. So at the very worst, the Reds maintain their challenge and they will clear the pitcher spot here. Although, as we mentioned, Mike Leake's a pretty good hitter for a pitcher.
Yeah, 251 career hitter coming into this season. Numbers are down a little bit for him this year, batting only .116, 5 hits in 43 at bats. Does have a home run to his credit this year.
That is a base hit for Cozart, the 4th hit tonight for the Reds. So first and third, 2 outs for Mike Leake. And hold up there, 0-1. Donald Lutz is the runner at third. Zach Cozart at first.
This is where that lack of command gets a little concerning. You got a runner at third base. Miguel Montero on that last delivery had to turn his wrist all the way around to corral a pitch off the plate away.
It gets behind him. It's likely a run. Here's the 1-1. Well, it's the same issue with Trevor Cahill. And seemingly has been for the last 2 years, as Kevin Towers puts it. This is a guy that mechanically has a hard time staying in sync. We always hear that, Bob, over and over. The arm slot, the hand position, the release point, all these moving parts. A ball and 2 strikes to Mike Leake.
And that's especially frustrating for a pitching coach because the stuff is there. There's no question. Trevor Cahill has major league stuff. That heavy sinking fastball. We've seen him snap off some good curveballs in the game already tonight. Occasionally he has a good feel for a straight changeup, but just the command issues, falling behind in counts, having to throw the ball over the big part of the plate, and that's when he gets hurt.
Off the glove of Prado. It rolls into foul ground. Lutz scores, and it's 2-0 Reds. And the challenge pays off in a big way for Brian Price.
Leake with a topspin grounder. Martin can only get the tip of his glove on it with a diving attempt toward the third baseline. Mike Leake was a guy that Dusty Baker used to use as a pinch runner and a pinch hitter. He's a guy that can come in and play a defensive position if you get jammed up late in an extra inning ball game, but hitting in that 9 spot today, driving in a run.
Billy Hamilton, first and second, 2 down, 2-0 Reds now. Prado in on the grass at third. Billy Hamilton, not the slap hitter that some feared he might be. There's room for him to get a bunt down if he wants to, with runners on first and second. This is a guy who homered once every 155 at bats in the minor leagues, but this year he's got 32 extra base hits, including 6 homers. And he had a double and scored a run to lead off the ball game for the Reds. National League's average slugging percentage right about 390. But Hamilton is at 405, so he's shown more pop in that bat than people gave him credit for.
Yeah, really quick, especially from the middle of the plate in, has good pull power.
And hitting over 300 with runners in scoring position. He's got some serious batting gloves going in those back pockets.
Those are probably his sliding gloves. You know, when you're as fast as Billy Hamilton, you use one pair of gloves to hit with and then one pair to run the bases.
1-2. Lays off and it's even.
Played against a guy from the Chicago Cubs years and years ago in a minor league spring training game over at Hohokam Park in Mesa. And similar setup, had a pair of batting gloves on his hands and a pair in his back pocket. I was curious. Asked him. He said, that's so I can wave goodbye when I hit this home run.
It's a strikeout, so wave goodbye to Billy Hamilton. Cahill gets his second strikeout in the inning, but the Reds add another run. They lead it 2-0.
Talked to a couple guys. He, I don't know, said, "Hey, why'd you throw this pitch, or why'd you swing at that pitch, or way to hit that, whatever." Just kind of doing his normal rounds, and on his way out, he just kind of said over his shoulder, "By the way, Bo Schultz is going to the big leagues." So, I was thrown off, and kind of gave him a sideways look, like, "Are you sure?"
And welcome back. The roster move today. Alfredo Marte option to Reno. Bo Schultz recalled again. The Diamondbacks, after 15 innings last night, need some help in that bullpen. And Bo Schultz made his major league debut with an inning of scoreless relief in Australia. And the Diamondbacks were allowed to take some extra arms with roster exemption on that trip to Australia. So we document the call-up, guys, because Bo told us that today's call-up feels a little bit more real to him.
What was the deal with that picture of Bo? Did you see the look on his face? Bo knows something. Here's Gerardo Parra. Mike Leake has retired all 6 he's faced so far. Parra 256 and 6 home runs. Bo Schultz is quite a story. Northwestern Wildcat. And he's had a long road to the big leagues that include a trip to Sydney, Australia. But look at the look on his face here in this photo. What does he know that we don't know?
Who, me?
We're glad he's here, Bo Schultz. He has pitched everywhere. Rookie ball in Arizona. He pitched for the Vancouver Canadians in the Northwest League. He pitched for the Kane County Cougars in the Midwest League. He was in the Oakland organization. Pitched independent ball. He was a Grand Prairie Air Hog before he signed with the Diamondbacks at an open tryout camp. He has had quite a road here. His college coach at Northwestern was Tim Stoddard, the former Orioles reliever, and he alerted the Diamondbacks, hey, you should take a look at this kid. And he's throwing 100 miles an hour. And so they brought him down to Salt River Fields on his own dime. tried out, got a contract, and here he is in the big leagues. Parra grounds out. Pena has it. One away in the third. Now let's look at our top tier player of the game, brought to you by Arco. Chase Anderson, outstanding, tied a career high with 8 strikeouts, gave up only 3 hits in 7, and then the bullpen gave up only 3 hits in 8.
Boy, just a tremendous pitching performance, and a tip of the cap to the Reds as well. They threw the ball extremely well. Diamondbacks just a little bit better, especially that bullpen. They were tremendous.
Here's the former Red, Didi Gregorius.
Yeah, if you like pitching, last night you should have been right here at Great American Ballpark.
1-0 to Didi. A 2-hit game for Gregorius last night. His 5th 2-hit game this month. He's at .236 on the year. One. Big night for Chase Anderson. You know, got off to that rocky second inning. Mesoraco hit that moonshot off him to lead off the second, then gave up a double to Pena, a single to Negron. All 3 hits in that second inning, and then did not allow another base hit the rest of the night. Didi pulls that one down the right field line. That's a fair ball, and it's in the corner. Gregorius will head for third. Didi bidding for 3, and he is in there. Didi Gregorius, his 4th triple. And that's the first hit for the Diamondbacks tonight against Mike Leake.
This is not an easy ballpark to hit a triple in. It's not very big. The fences are not very deep. Skip Schumacher has an infielder's arm out there in right field. That perhaps was part of Didi's decision to turn the corner there at second base and try to get 3 in easily on his stomach.
So he's at third with 1 out. Now how you want to play this with Trevor Cahill? Diamondback pitchers have not had a lot of success trying to get bunts down this year.
And with Mike Leake on the mound, he's not your typical pitcher. He's like a shortstop out there in the middle of the diamond. A tremendous athlete. I think you just have to let Trevor swing away here and hope he finds a hole.
Reds infield is in on the grass. Trying to knock it through somehow. Mike Leake not a real hard thrower. He's generally 90 to 92-ish with that 2-seam sinking fastball and the cutter. Popped him up. Foul ground. Frazier in Glenn Sherlock's area over there, and that's the second out. Cahill cannot put the ball in play. 2 down now for Ender and Ciarte.
Hey fans, anytime the D-backs score 6 runs or more, Taco Bell is giving away 3 free tacos with the purchase of a large drink between 4 and 6 the following day at participating locations.
Last night was not the night for tacos. Not a lot of offense.
Get you 1 jalapeno slice for that offense we had last night.
Mike Leake's got that rosin going on the bill of the cap and on the back, I believe, too. Ciarte grounded out to first his first time up. He was 0 for 6 last night, struck out 3 times. Ender shows bunt. That's a strike. Chris Guccione is our plate umpire tonight.
We talked about the lack of offense and the excellent pitching in the ball game last night, and this was the result. Only 14 combined hits for the 2 teams, and you can see in 15 or more inning games this season, that's the lowest offensive total.
Pulls that one right by Dave McKay at first. Dave back from Cooperstown, where he was attending the induction ceremony of Chief Baseball Officer Tony La Russa at the Baseball Hall of Fame on Sunday. 0-2 to Inciarte. We had some Hall of Famers here with us last night. That was something. Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench in our Fox Sports Arizona booth, and they were tremendous. And as we said last night, when you're here in Cincinnati and you can't go to Cooperstown, Cooperstown in this ballpark comes to you.
I can't tell you what a big thrill it was for me to play against the Reds in my major league debut. You know, I grew up watching all those guys, and they came trotting in the booth like they own the place.
Santiago. A Strand Gregorius's one-out triple. Home half of the third on the way. It's 2-0 Reds. Diamondbacks baseball on Fox Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by your local Lexus dealers. Living on the air in Cincinnati. Fox Sports Arizona, Great American Ballpark right on the water. This was our booth yesterday. Whoa. This was big time. Joe Morgan and Johnny Bench.
Big time.
I love the way Johnny got the Krylon ad in for the spray paint.
He's still getting royalties from Krylon, yeah.
Number 5 and number 8, the Big Red Machine, 1975 and 76. One of the greatest teams of all time. That was a thrill. Ramon Santiago. First pitch swinging. This is on the ground to second. Aaron Hill has it, one away.
You know, there are those that have said that Johnny Bench probably ruined more young catchers than he helped, because he was so good. Physically was built to play the position and had those monster hands. I mean, catcher's mitt, it looked like a little toy baby glove in his hand. He was such a tremendous athlete behind the plate. You know, he didn't have to range far to his right or his left. He didn't have to be swift of foot running the bases, but man, could he do things behind the plate that nobody had ever done before.
Another ground ball to second. 2 pitches, 2 outs for Cahill. I heard he was a pretty good golfer, too.
Oh, man. Do we have time to even get this? Yeah. Mike Lacoste had a charity golf tournament down Paso Robles, California every year. A lot of baseball celebrities would come into town, and one of the things they would do was have a long drive competition among the celebrities. Well, Johnny was supposed to come to the tournament that day, and it was time to start the long drive competition, and he wasn't there yet. So they said, okay, we'll start, but, you know, kind of take your time, drag it out, and hopefully Johnny will get here in time to participate. So, you know, the celebrities start hitting the drives, and we're stalling for time. Johnny's not here. All of a sudden, a taxi cab pulls into the country club and pulls right onto the cart path, right up next to the #1 tee box where we were having the long drive contest. Johnny Bench gets out of the cab, grabs his golf clubs out of the trunk, pulls his driver out of the golf bag, walks up on the tee box and hit one 30 yards farther than anybody else had hit. Okay, I guess we can start the tournament now.
And got in the cab and drove off.
Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, just one of those things that, there's no way he just did that, but we all witnessed it.
2-2 on Devin Mesoraco, the Reds catcher.
I was stunned they let a taxi cab onto the golf course, but, it was Johnny Bench.
I was going to say, Johnny Bench is in there. The cab can go wherever it wants. Slow roller to third. 3 ground ball outs in the inning for Trevor Cahill. Diamondbacks through 3, trail at 2-0. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. We will tee it off with Aaron Hill, Paul Goldschmidt, and Miguel Montero in the Diamondback fourth. Let's catch every strikeout, every game ender, and every history-making moment on MLB Whip Around. Weeknights at 7 on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. The Riverboats right through downtown Cincinnati here. Ever been on one of those things?
Oh, years ago.
On a one hop to third, Frazier. Payne, you can't make the scoop, and Aaron Hill's aboard. There was almost nothing on that ball. It was a tough play for Frazier. And the D-backs have the leadoff man on here in the fourth.
Frazier may have had time to glove this one, which would have allowed him to get a better grip on the ball before he made the throw across the diamond. But as it is, a barehanded toss. Tough short hop for Brian Payne, a guy that is really still learning the position over there at first base.
Yeah, he's a catcher playing first, and there you can see. That is an error on Frazier, E5, we're told. And so here's Goldie. First pitch swinging. Kind of like he broke his bat, popped up behind the bag at second. Santiago has it, 1 down. That dude, BP, Brandon Phillips. They miss his glove defensively out there. He tore ligaments in his left thumb earlier this month, diving for a ground ball. Had surgery a couple of weeks ago. He's going to be out at least another month, so expecting him back before September. Don't count on it.
Yeah, another guy there to Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto's left. Sean Marshall, left-hander out of the bullpen. He's been on the shelf most of the season as well.
Miguel Montero.
Iggy's bat just exploded in his hand in his blasted bat, but it was one of Gerardo Parr's, so he doesn't feel so bad about it.
Is that a big no-no? Guys get ticked off. I guess now they get, dozens of bats a day. So But back in the day, you probably didn't get that many bats, right?
Especially at the minor league level. I mean, yeah, sometimes you got to work your way through an entire season with maybe a dozen or 24 bats, and boy, those things are gold. Don't touch them. Yeah, and obviously you need to get permission to take one of your teammates' equipment, but occasionally, guys bat maybe an ounce or two heavier, an ounce or two lighter, maybe a half an inch longer or shorter, and it just feels better in your hand. So, hey, if it'll help you get a hit, go right ahead.
We'll look back to Chris Guccione here. I don't think there's a hitter in the league that does more negotiating than Miguel Montero with a plate umpire. It's always friendly.
Yeah, there's a right way and a wrong way to do it, and I think Miguel, for the most part, does it the right way.
I bet catchers can probably get away with that a little more as hitters. Because it's probably, I'm sure, with Miggy, a running dialogue, both offensively and defensively back there.
Sure. You're working defensively to try to buy strikes for your pitcher out there on the mound, and as a hitter, you're trying to shrink that strike zone.
2-1. Miggy, the batting average got up to 280 back on June the 9th when the Diamondbacks were in Houston. But since then, over his last 35 games, he's hit under 230. So the average has dropped about 20 points over the last 6 weeks or so. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Aaron Hill, the runner at first. Slap to third. Leake makes a nice barehand play but throws it away. Pena won't come off the bag. Aaron Hill will stop at third, and Montero is in at second. You mentioned, Bob, what a good defensive player Mike Leake was. He showed it there to get the ball, but then the throw got past that first baseman. Again, you got a catcher here tonight playing first base.
Yeah, guys that are experienced at that position, they understand very quickly, we're not going to get this out. That's a bad throw. I need to come off the bag and make sure that ball doesn't get down the right field line. But Brian Pena tries to stretch out there and keep a foot on the bag and just can't get out there far enough. That one gets by him down the right field line.
So the Diamondbacks have second and third, 1 out for Mark Trumbo. Get the scoring on that in a moment for you. Trumbo struck out his first time up. That is a base hit for Montero. E1 on the throw from Leake. Puts Montero at second. Trumbo gets that one way up in the air near the seats in foul ground, and it's out of play. So that's the second Diamondback hit tonight against Mike Leake. And the second Reds error in this inning. Mark Trumbo, 12 games since his return from the foot injury, 10 of those starts, and he's hit about 180 with 3 RBIs. Up there in a big RBI spot right here, tying runs in scoring position, 1 out. 0-2 the count. Got him. We've seen Mark on this road trip chase some balls that were well out of the strike zone.
Now that was the thing that was kind of impressive when he initially came off the disabled list. It seemed like he had pretty good strike zone awareness. He wasn't chasing as many bad pitches as we've seen him do over the last week or so. Maybe just trying to do a little bit too much. I'm sure he's very anxious to get it going and become a part of this offense and expanding his own zone there.
Well, it's up to Martin Prado, who grounded out his first time up after he was 0 for 5 last night to snap a 6-game hitting streak. There's the strike, 0-1.
Hey fans, when the D-backs win, you win at Papa John's. The day after every Diamondbacks win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at Papa John's. Enter promo code D-backs50 at papajohns.com.
Last night, just the fourth game all month in which Prado did not record a base hit. He's batting .309 in July. A knock here might tie the ball game up against Leake. He's about to throw his 50th pitch of the ball game. That's a foul ball, says Chris Guccione.
Boy, Martin has that guard on the left leg. We've seen it down on top of his foot. We've seen it on his ankle. We've seen it up near his knee. And, of course, this one hits an area that's not covered by a pad, right off the left toe. You mentioned it early on, partner, that Mike Leake is a guy that will attack the strike zone. He's only thrown 12 balls in the game so far.
Very efficient. Yeah, you think that's one reason why he's been so hittable? No pitcher in the league has given up more hits than Mike Leake.
Yeah, I think he's just playing the percentages. If he throws strikes and the ball's put in play, even the good hitters are going to make out 7 out of 10. He's willing to take that gamble, throw the ball over the plate, and hopes they hit it at his defenders.
He's got Prado down 0-2. Broken bat. Will this one drop? Santiago has it. Ramon Santiago from second base saves 2 runs on that play and ends the inning. How about this play? This one looked like it would drop for 2 runs to tie the ball game, but Santiago keeps it 2-0 Reds. Fans, Papa John's, Pepsi, and the D-backs teaming up to expand access to sports and inspire Arizona's kids to play ball. When you order the Big League Combo with a 2-liter of Pepsi, Papa John's will donate $1 to the Arizona Diamondbacks Foundation's Play Ball Fund, supporting youth sports teams and programs across Arizona. Bridge across the river here in Cincinnati. Ohio on one side, Kentucky the other. Diamondbacks on the wrong side of a 2-0 score as we start the fourth. The majestic beauty of Cincinnati, Ohio.
One thing we love about coming here this time of year, we are on the far western side of the Eastern time zone, so there's daylight till 9 o'clock in the evening.
It is like living in Alaska. I noticed that when we got here on Sunday from Philadelphia. It's 8:45 at night, still sunny. Is my clock right? What's going on here? Brian Pena. Right to Aaron Hill. One down in the fourth. Trevor Cahill is now retired 5 in a row. Brings up Donald Lutz. Trevor Cahill, DFA'd by the D-backs about the middle of June, went to the minor leagues 3 days later, and he said at that time that he wanted to stay in the organization. Said they'd been good to him, and he still believed he could come back, be a starter, and help this team win, and now he's getting his chance. He was 0-4 in his first 4 D-back starts this year. The ERA was over 9 before he was moved into the bullpen. 15 appearances there as a reliever. Was effective at times and ineffective at other times, but that bullpen role and that mentality just never seemed to be something he was comfortable with. And now he's had that extended stint in the minor leagues to stretch that arm back out and build that pitch count back up. Trevor made 6 starts at AAA Reno, went 2-2. The ERA right about 3.5, but he walked 20 guys in just over 28 innings. And so never really did get a handle on that command and control. And he's behind on Lutz here, 2-1. There's a strike, 2-2. A loss in his previous start. That was last Wednesday against the Tigers at Chase Field. Trevor gave up 7 runs on 8 hits and lasted only 4 innings. Called strike 3. He rings up Lutz. 3rd strikeout for Cahill. 2 down in the 4th. And this is what you're talking about when you say command, right?
Yeah, that front door sinker. Watch Lutz. He locks his knees. Thought that pitch was way off the plate inside. Trevor gets just enough late movement to bring it back to that inside corner at the knees.
So if you're a scout, a pitching coach, anywhere, anybody, you see that pitch, what does it tell you about the repertoire or the potential?
Well, we mentioned it earlier. The stuff is there. You know, you see that kind of a sinker. You see the curveball that he's thrown in the strike zone from time to time. He doesn't do it much anymore, but occasionally he would go to a 4-seam fastball up high in the zone. And when you see it good, it lights up the gun. It lights up your eyes. You like what you see, but then the next pitch is, you know, over the umpire's head and behind a hitter, and you wonder, my goodness, what's going on? And that's been the eternal struggle for Trevor Cahill, to find that consistency with the release point so he can be in and around that strike zone more often.
Two and one on Skip Schumacher. And here's the case in point. Cahill rolling along here. He had a 1-2-3 third. Got the first 2 in the 4th, but now with 2 outs, he's behind 3-1 on Schumacher. In the air to center, Ender Inciarte, plenty of room. A second straight 1-2-3 inning for Trevor Cahill, who's retired 7 straight. D-backs trail it 2-0.
at first base and had a great day at Cooperstown on Sunday. He told me that he just got there, though, about an hour before the ceremony started so that, of course, he could hear the induction speech from Tony La Russa, the man who he worked for 27 years as part of his staff with La Russa managing. He said he loved the speech. It was from the heart. He was able to have dinner with Carney Lansford, Dave Stewart, some of the guys, of course, from the A's during those days. He just wished he had more time, guys. He didn't get to go tour the museum, so he says he hopes to get back there. But another note on the Diamondbacks in the front office right now, Tony La Russa, Kevin Towers, and the front office staff back at the hotel in a conference room. And Kirk Gibson was talking about the fact that if the game had ended in a timely fashion last night, he was going to go over there and be privy to some of the talks that are going on. But he said they've constructed some boards and, of course, going over everything before Thursday's trade deadline. And if the game ends in timely fashion tonight, he will head over there and become part of the meetings and talks that are going on right now.
Thank you, Jody. Trade deadline coming up on Thursday, so getting down to that final 48 hours, and the Diamondbacks do have a war room here in the area. Pro scouts, front office staff. And Kevin Towers said last week the D-backs are a seller more likely than a buyer at the deadline, and that they have targeted a handful of clubs they believe could be trade partners. And the Diamondbacks have had several scouts looking over some of the lower minor league levels with some of those clubs they think match up with them for potential trades. So doing a lot of cross-checking now, different sets of eyes on different guys, looking up backgrounds and makeup. And it's a process that KT says, Bob, started about 6 weeks ago, and now they're down to the final, well, basically 2 days here.
I mean, it really never stops. Certainly it heats up as you get closer and closer to that trade deadline, but it's an ongoing process all year round for the guys whose job it is to scout the talent, not only at the major league level, the minor league level, the amateur scouts. It's an ongoing process for an organization that never really ends.
And if you're going to trade a veteran player, an established major league player, and you always see that in the transactions column, and you hear, well, they traded so-and-so for 2 or 3 minor leaguers. Well, if you're going to do that, you better know what you're getting with those minor leaguers. There's always names, and we don't know. You may know a prospect or two, but if it's a real guy that's gotten a lot of publicity out there, but you got to make sure you know what you're getting in return. Another nice defensive play by Santiago's having a great night down there at second. And so you've got the Diamondbacks scouts and staffers and cross-checkers out there combing some of these lower minor league levels, trying to see, well, these guys have a pitcher we might like, or there's a shortstop, an A-ball that might be good here with that organization.
And all information is good. You know, not only the scouts that sit in the stands with the radar guns and the notebooks and watch every pitch that's thrown, but your own managers and coaches at the minor league level. Sometimes even your own players at the minor league level. If you want to find out about a pitcher for another team at the minor leagues that's recently pitched against one of your affiliates, it doesn't hurt anything to get the input of the players. What did you think about so-and-so? How was his fastball? How was his breaking ball? Can you pick the ball up out of his hand easily? I mean, the more information you have, the better choices you're going to make.
Deadline coming up on Thursday. 2 outs, 0-2 to Cahill now. Reds lead it 2-0. Billy Hamilton a double, Todd Frazier an RBI single in the first. They added another run in the second on a Mike Leake RBI single. Leake so far has given up only 2 hits. And he has 5 strikeouts. Leake works a 1-2-3 fifth. Diamondbacks trail it 2-0.
Man, not so good at times. You wonder if he's going to ever find that strike zone, and then just about the time you're ready to get the bullpen going, he does this. Just pounds away at that strike zone. That's what's frustrating and challenging for a pitching coach, to try to find the good Trevor and avoid the bad Trevor.
We always hear the word stuff, and I think in Trevor Cahill's case, stuff we saw in those last 3 pitches. Those are filthy.
Sharp, late breaking pitches, late moving sinkers.
Well, he's had it rolling over the latter portion of the ball game so far. He's retired the last 7 he's faced. And the number 8 hitter, Zach Cozart, the shortstop, will lead it off. Cozart, Leake, Hamilton, 8, 9, and 1 in the Reds' 5th. And remember, Cahill went through a period last year when he was shut down, much like this year. Although last year was injury related, he missed all of July, half of August. Came back and was very effective. In fact, he was unbeaten. And that created a lot of optimism for Trevor going into this year. Short right field, easy play for Parra. Remember, over his final 9 appearances last year, 8 of them starts, Cahill was 5-0 and had a 2.70 ERA. Diamondbacks won 6 of those 9 games, so you're looking for that trend here this year to repeat itself. Cahill has an extended absence, comes back, and he's much more effective. Here's Leake, who had an RBI single in his first at bat tonight. 0-1. Cahill has retired 8 in a row, about to throw pitch number 70. Bounces that one. There you go again.
Just spikes it out there in front of the edge of the left-handed batter's box.
He also appears at times, and again, it's another thing he's not consistent about, but at times he appears to land very awkwardly. And that's over the glove of Cahill. Didi Gregorius has it. 2 down in the 5th. Sometimes he'll land in that great fielder's position, ready to receive it. Other times he kind of stumbles as he hits the ground.
Well, the bottom line, I think, with Trevor Cahill is when he is good, he's so good that you'd like to think he can pitch his way through or around the bad spells. You know, he may fall behind a hitter 2-0, 3-1, but he throws that lead pipe sinker in there in a good hitter's count, and they just break their bat and hit an easy grounder. You'd like to think when he gets into trouble, he can make the good pitches and get himself out of trouble. That's not always the case, however, if you look at the numbers.
How much of that? No way to tell for sure, but how much do you think of that is between his ears?
Well, it's hard to say without actually sitting down and putting Trevor on a couch, but I think for any pitcher, a certain amount of it gets between your ears. You start to think a little bit too much. This is what I was talking about. With bases empty, he's held the opposition under 200 this year. You love that. But with men on, it speaks to the problems he's had pitching out of the stretch. And that's one of the first things, you know, we grind a lot of numbers up here before ball games, trying to anticipate what might happen in a game. And that's one thing I always look at is a pitcher's numbers with runners in scoring position. Can he make good pitches when he needs them the most? And so far this year for Trevor, it's been a little bit of a struggle with runners on base.
1-2 to Hamilton, misses, and it's even 2-2. 75 pitches for Cahill, 45 for strikes. And it's full on Hamilton. On a hop to Goldie. He takes it himself, and that's 3 straight 1, 2, 3 innings for Trevor Cahill, who has retired 10 in a row. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. We'll see Aaron Hill in the Arizona 6th. Friends, snuggle up to FoxSportsArizona.com for all your online local sports coverage. You'll get reaction from the Diamondbacks clubhouse here in Cincinnati. Randy Hill taking a deeper look into the stalled Eric Bledsoe negotiations. Man, those things have been going on for about 2 months now. And linebacker Kevin Minter is the man on the spot for the Cardinals defense. All that and more at FoxSportsArizona.com. Ender Inciarte looks at strike 1 to lead off the 6th. He is 0 for 2 so far. As Mike Leake has held the D-backs to just 2 hits.
Yeah, Mike Leake has thrown 12 first pitch strikes to the 19 hitters he's faced. This is his 7th 0-2 count in the ball game, and he's yet to go to a 3-ball count against the D-backs hitter.
Right back to the mound. Boy, quick glove hand right there from Leake. He is a good athlete out there.
Boy, and in that respect, very much like Greg Maddux. I'm not comparing Mike Leake to Greg Maddux in any other way, shape, or form, but Greg Maddux was a sinker ball pitcher. He knew he was going to get a lot of action back through the box, and Mike Leake is the same way, always in good fielding position. Once he lets it go, he's a defender.
Well, it's funny, when Dusty Baker managed the Reds, he said Mike Leake was going to succeed using that Maddux formula, which was changing speeds and using location. And as we mentioned, Leake hardly ever walks anybody at all, only just 29 walks all year. And so he can do that. He can pitch to the situation, work for the double play ball when he can, and if he needs it, he can get the strikeout. But he knows what he wants to do out there according to the situation. That was always the Maddux play.
Yeah, look at him, Mike Leake. Kind of odd with that glove. It's not unusual for a pitcher to have that little finger pocket on the back of the glove. But he actually has his slid over one finger. He's got the pocket on the back of the middle finger of his glove. That way, when he does field those comebackers or line drives, it takes a lot of the sting out of it because he doesn't have a finger right behind the pocket of the glove.
Aaron Hill, who just got hit on the right hand, is hit by a pitch there. That one appeared to just graze him somewhere, and he'll take his base with 1 out in the 6th.
Looked like it might have just got Jersey. Woo! Thank you.
Ends a stretch of 6 in a row retired by Leake, and here's Goldie, who's 0 for 2. Swings at the first pitch again. It's in and out of the glove of Frazier, and Aaron Hill is a dead duck, nowhere to go. last time in his previous at bat, Goldie swung on the first pitch and popped it up. That time he jumped on the first offering and laced it right to Frazier at third.
Into and out of the glove of Frazier, but as you said, Aaron Hill really couldn't do anything right there. He red line drive. He saw Frazier dive. The ball hit in his glove. And once it rolled out, an easy force play at second base.
Goldie aboard with 2 outs now for Miguel Montero. Miggy a little nubber near the mound for an infield hit in his last at bat. Leake tried to field it, threw it away, and Montero ended up at second. So Miggy has now hit safely in 5 of his last 6. Mike Leake, first round pick by the Reds out of ASU in the 09 draft. He was the 8th player selected overall. Miggy reaches down and sends that in the air to left field. Easy play for Donald Lutz, and that's the inning. Bottom 6 coming up. Diamondbacks trail it 2-0. Dead. Zombie's going to be back at the ballpark Saturday. Chase Field, this time in the form of a bobblehead. Saturday, August 2nd, Diamondbacks and Pirates. First 20,000. Get this D-back zombie bobblehead. This is a must-have collector's item. It actually made the trip with us here. Didn't survive the trip, but then again, it's a zombie. Purchase tickets now by calling 602-514-8400 or dbacks.com. The zombie bobblehead that I got met an unfortunate ending in the Phillies dugout. Broke a hand.
That happens.
Look at Trevor Cahill. He's retired the last 10 Reds he's faced. Gave up a run in the first, a run in the second, trails at 2-0. Santiago, Frazier, Mesoraco 2, 3, and 4 here in the Red 6th.
Been a little bit more of a labor for Trevor Cahill. We gave you the numbers from Mike Leake, how he jumped ahead, hadn't had a 3-ball count yet in the game. Trevor's had 4 3-ball counts, only 1 0-2 count in the game. But it's only 2-0 Reds at this point, keeping his team in the game.
Most effective stat we can give you at this point, 8 ground ball outs through 5 innings for Trevor Cahill.
That's always a great sign. That means that sinker's working. Hitters are hitting the top half of the baseball.
Dismiss there. 1 and 2. That looked pretty good. 80 pitches now, 48 for strikes for Cahill. 2-2. Bounce to Goldie. Make it 9 ground ball outs for Cahill. 1 down in the 6th.
Boy, as far as the Diamondbacks are concerned, this has been a good outing already for Trevor Cahill. We mentioned the bullpen a little beat up after the 15-inning game last night. See the out distribution for Trevor tonight. His average this season has been 4 2/3 innings per start. If he's able to complete this 6th inning, it will tie his season high. He's thrown 6 innings only once all year.
You mentioned that at the top of the broadcast. The bullpen is exhausted. They needed a deep outing by Cahill tonight, and they are getting it, and then some so far. Frazier, an RBI single in the 1st. He's 1 for 2. Frazier scuffling a bit as of late. 4 for his last 29 up there. There's a strike, 2-1. Had 4 strikeouts last night, took an 0 for 6. Base hit. That ends a stretch of 11 straight retired by Trevor Cahill. Cincinnati has a 1-out base runner.
We've seen a lot of exaggerated pull shifts. This is one instance where maybe the shift hurt the Diamondbacks this time. Miggy reminding Trevor Cahill, keep that front shoulder in there. Don't let it fly open. Drive right toward your target. And Todd Frazier just tomahawks a high fastball through that right side. Aaron Hill cheating just a little bit up the middle of the field.
Devin Mesoraco. A couple of ground ball outs tonight. He hit into a double play to win the 1st. There goes Frazier, who can run on you. Still no signal as of yet, and finally Tom Hallion says safe. So Todd Frazier has his 16th stolen base this year in 21 attempts.
I don't think Todd Frazier was quite sure where the baseball was. Frazier just took off on first movement. Miggy's throw was a little high, taking Aaron Hill up the ladder. Watch Frazier. He looks around looking for the baseball, and then thought he better just stay right where he was.
Tom Hallion like a statue over there.
Statue or sculpture?
There's a difference, as we learned last night from Joe Morgan, who said the other statues out in front are statues. His is a sculpture. And when you're a Hall of Famer, it's a sculpture.
It's a work of art.
1-1 on Mesoraco. Frazier at second, 1 away. Was asking Johnny Bench, who was in our booth last night, about Devin Mesoraco not too long ago, and how, if at all, Mesoraco reminded Bench of Johnny Bench. And the first thing that Johnny said was he liked his doggedness. That was his word. And getting prepared, the way he does his job on the field, says he just looks ready all the time. And that certainly applied to Johnny Bench. And coming from Johnny Bench, that is high praise indeed.
Yes, indeed.
And catching is about all Mesoraco's ever done. He's been a catcher since he was 10. Played some football, basketball, but can't really run. Wasn't crazy athletic, he says, but as that sliding scale applies to catchers, behind the plate he was both athletic and fast, so he's always been back there. On the ground is short. Frazier moves to third. Gregorius throws him out. 2 down in the 6th. There's Brian Pena, who's 0 for 2. Cahill got to strand that runner at third.
Well, that's one position on the field where you really have to relish your job. You really have to want to be a catcher. It's not a position that you can approach half-heartedly. You've got to be all in.
Who else would put up with all that abuse?
Well, I didn't even know if Mesoraco would catch tonight. He took a beating back there behind the plate last night. Aroldis Chapman, all 3 of his strikeouts in the ball game were foul tips that mishit Mesoraco in different parts of his left hand. He got hit in the back by a backswing. He was just stumbling around back there by the end of the ball game. I thought for sure Brian Price would give him today off, but yeah, knowing Devin Mesoraco, he probably went into Brian's office right away and said, "I'm good to go, Skip."
Last several years they've had that defensive specialist, an excellent pitch caller, Ryan Hannigan here, but they let him go to Tampa Bay before the season. Pena slaps it into left. Trumbo can't get there. Frazier scores, and it's 3-0 Reds. RBI single for Pena.
Just didn't have enough carry to get all the way out to Mark Trumbo in left field. Nice diving attempt, a dangerous diving attempt, but fortunately for the Diamondbacks, he's able to knock it down with that glove hand, keep it in front. Otherwise, Lutz is off to the races. Or Pena, rather.
So Trevor Cahill, who had retired 11 straight, gives up a single to Frazier, a stolen base. He went to third on the Mesoraco grounder, comes home on the Pena 2-out single to make it a 3-0 ball game. And here's Donald Lutz, who singled and scored back in the second. Donald Lutz, the first German-developed player in the major leagues. He was born in Watertown, New York, but moved to Germany when he was just a year old and played baseball over there. Aaron Hill. Now 11 ground ball outs tonight through 6 innings for Trevor Cahill, but after 6, the Diamondbacks trail it 3-0. We are down there, Great American Ballpark, our Chevron upcoming pitching matchup. Day game tomorrow, 9:30 start, back home to the great state of Arizona. Radio only. No TV for Wade Miley versus Alfredo Simon, who's been an all-star and is having a terrific year at 12-5, a 2.86 ERA. So it's up to Greg Schulte and Digger Ken Phelps to get you through tomorrow, overseen there by Leo Gilmartin. LG's big time here in Cincinnati.
Oh, he's big everywhere.
Got a lot of fans. Mark Trumbo has struck out twice, 0 for 2.
Yeah, with the Governor and Digger, it's, you know, like just sitting on a couch with a couple of your friends watching a ball game.
Been great to have Ken Phelps with us on the trip. He is a character. How are we looking? Every time you see Ken Phelps, he greets you with the, hey, how we looking?
How we looking? I saw you showing Digger some of the magic of the internet with scouting reports and what have you.
I tell you what, he was really into it because he didn't know there was an internet. I had to explain what it was. No, but he went to look up some of the analytics on Mike Leake and he looked at a couple of those sites that break down that stuff. He's always learning, Digger. 2-2. He's got his own lingo, too. He uses words I don't even know what he's talking about.
I'm not sure he knows what he's talking about, but it seems to make sense.
Probably not good for a guy who's doing radio. 3-2 on Trumbo, but it all works out in the end. Trumbo still alive.
First time in a game Mike Leake's had a 3-ball count on a Diamondbacks hitter.
D-backs still with just 2 hits. Gregorius a triple in the 3rd. Montero a single in the 4th. And Trumbo strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. 6 strikeouts for Mike Leake.
Like a high cutter that time. But Trumbo, a guy that's really trying to get his own strike zone wired in, and it looked like the pitch nipped that top quadrant of the strike zone, but you don't see a lot of high strikes called anymore.
80 pitches for Leake, 67 for strikes, or pardon me, 57 for strikes. And here's Prado, 0 for 2. Looking for Martin Prado to start driving the ball at 275 on the year. Missed this in the air near the right field line. Long run for Schumacher, and a nice play there by the ball boy. Right to the chair.
Had it positioned perfectly.
Try not to smile. Made a play. This is convenient. Barely had to stand up.
If I'm not mistaken, that's one of Jay Bell's kids. I believe that's Brantley Bell. He's got his 2 boys in town, Brantley and Brock.
Well, he's got BB on the back of his shirt.
Yeah, perfect.
0-2. Pena knocks that down. Leake is over there to cover. I saw you talking to Jay Bell a lot before the ball game today, right?
Yeah, Jay's a good man. He's just patiently waiting for his opportunity to manage at the major league level. And personally, I think he's going to make a great manager. He's had the opportunity to sit and observe. He's had a variety of different roles on coaching staffs. And he's a guy that would like to get his chance, and I'm sure he will when the time comes.
I think he's hearing it from that dugout down there.
Yeah, probably so.
I mean, what do they want him to do? Not catch it? That would have been worse. Here's Parra, 0 for 2.
Hey, when you think about all the qualities it takes to make a good manager, I'm not sure who that is.
There's Jay Bell.
One of the very first ones in my eyes is he's a good teammate. He was a good teammate as a player, and everybody that played with Jay Bell raved about how astute he was about the game itself, what a great guy he was. After a tough game, he'd be the first one to come over, pat you on the back, and say, hey, tomorrow's another day. We'll get him tomorrow. Always positive, always pushing, but in a good way.
He was the Pirates hitting coach last year, wasn't he, Jay Bell?
Yeah.
That is a fair ball down the right field line. It's in the corner. And Gerardo Parra is thinking 3, but he'll stop at second with a 2-out double. 18th double this year for Parra. And just the 3rd hit tonight for the D-backs against Mike Leake.
Right down the first baseline. Brian Pena doing everything he can to try to corral it, but couldn't knock this one down. Rolls all the way down into that right field corner. Skip Schumacher, once again, a guy that possesses an infielder's arm, but playing outfield here today for the Reds. And Parra had thoughts about trying to go for 3, but with 2 outs in the inning and trailing by 3 runs, you better just drop anchor there in scoring position.
So a 2-out base runner for Didi Gregorius, who tripled down the right field line. Back in the 3rd, he's 1 for 2. Bo Schultz just called up today. Alfredo Marte sent down to the minors. Diamondbacks with that bullpen exhausted need someone that can give them some innings back there. David Peralta is on deck. Pitcher spot is due up next, so this would be it for Cahill if Gregorius can reach. Didi made his major league debut with the Cincinnati Reds in this ballpark. That was September 2012. He went 0 for 4 here against the Phillies. Got his first big league hit in this park a few days later. Played 8 games with the Reds as a September call-up 2 seasons ago. Three 3-0 now. Hadn't had a 3-ball count the whole ball game. He's had 2 in this inning. Creeping up on 90 pitches. Didi over 470 this year with runners in scoring position. Here's the 3-0. Gregorius right at 245 since his recall from AAA back on June the 4th. He's got 10 extra base hits over that span, including 3 home runs. Looking for a knock here to put the Diamondbacks on the board. With Leake about to throw pitch number 90. And he slaps it into left. They are going to stop Parra at 3rd. Donald Lutz was playing very shallow, and Glenn Sherlock immediately put up the stop sign.
Might have been a different story if Trevor Cahill was going to hit for himself. He might be a little more aggressive in this situation, but with David Peralta in the on-deck circle, Glenn Sherlock has to throw up the stop sign on Parra. As you mentioned, Lutz was playing shallow, charged that ball hard.
And here comes Jeff Pico out to talk to Leake, who has thrown 90 pitches, 64 for strikes. And the Diamondbacks, Reds have Sandy Cure throwing in the bullpen. We saw him last night. Worked an inning through only 13 pitches. D-backs will have runners on the corners with 2 outs, and Peralta will hit for Cahill. The line on Leake so far. A rare hitless night last night for David Peralta. Took an 0 for 6. Saw the batting average drop by 11 points in one night. So he's at .310 on the year. He's up there with 2 outs. Gerardo Parra is the runner at 3rd. Didi Gregorius at 1st. A 2-hit night for Didi. 0-1. Peralta last 21 games hitting about .340. D-backs got a couple of big 2-out hits in the 4th inning last night. Looking for one here tonight in the 7th. smacks it to center, but right at Hamilton. It almost sails over his head. He plays in so shallow. But Leake strands 2. Stretch time in Cincinnati. It's 3-0 Reds.
Simple as that. No, I mean, obviously, try to keep him close to the base, and obviously the pitch trying to give me a good time. And if we get him out, we're lucky, But main thing is just trying to keep him off base.
There's our Geico quote of the game and the magic phrase, keep him off base. Diamondbacks have actually done a pretty good job of it. Yesterday, Billy Hamilton 0 for 5. Today, 1 for 3, but he was on base to lead off the game with that double, guys, came around to score. So I think, as you guys have noted, with his average and the wins for the Reds and Miguel Montero's assessment, got to keep him off base is the only way to stop him from scoring.
For the most part so far, mission accomplished, except for that run he scored in the first. Diamondbacks have contained Billy Hamilton in this series so far. And now the job will be up to Bo Schultz. Back up from Reno. Bo this year 8-7, 5-7-5 with the AAA Aces in 21 starts. He was leading the Aces in wins, starts, and innings pitched when he was called up to try and give this bullpen some relief. And Skip Schumacher leads off the 7th. Bo Schultz made his first ever opening day roster for the Diamondback when he was in Sydney, Australia, as Jody told us earlier. Had a scoreless innings of work against the Dodger in his one appearance this year, and was sent back to Reno on March 29th. 7 minor league seasons with the A's and Diamondbacks organizations, not to mention a whole bunch of travails through some independent leagues, and now here he is pitching in the big leagues at Great American Ballpark. 28 years old. He'll turn 29 in September.
3-pitch mix from Bo Schultz. Fastball, changeup, slider. And it's a big fastball, mid to upper 90s. We've seen him hit 97 already in his first 3 deliveries here in the game.
Yeah, he will hit triple digits. And scouts really noticed that Bo Schultz got a confidence boost once he became a starter in the Diamondback system. That was at AA Mobile. And that's where he went from a guy who really just goes up and throws hard stuff all the time and learned how to become more of a pitcher. And they have liked what they've seen from Bo Schultz, who went on the 40-man roster in the offseason. A lot of arm strength up here. He will hit 100. And it moves, too. It's got some arm side movement. There's a cutter. Working on a breaking ball. It's kind of slurvy, or has been anyway. Bo last year had a good showing with the Salt River Rafters in the Arizona Fall League. Started 7 games, went 3-0 with a 3.09 ERA. Born in Dallas, went to Highland Park High School there and pitched at Northwestern. Slow roller right to Schultz, who scampers over to air first, tosses to Goldie, 1 out. So Schumacher 0 for 3. Here's Kozar.
Getting back to Miguel Montero for just a moment. He was talking about the challenges of playing a Billy Hamilton team. You go back to the beginning of the 2010 season, only Yadier Molina and Ryan Hannigan, a guy you mentioned earlier, the Reds' backup catcher in seasons past, have a better percentage throwing out opposing base stealers. Yadier Molina just over 43%, Hannigan at 39%, and Miguel Montero at 36%.
He will test you, Billy Hamilton.
Oh, yeah.
96 for a strike to Zach Kozar. Kozar singled in the second. He's 1 for 2. And that single in his first at bat tonight snapped an 0 for 21 slump. Second look this year at Bo Schultz, 6'3", 215. Mike Leake on deck here in the 7th.
And we're not sure Kirk Gibson's plans for Bo Schultz in this ball game tonight. Pitcher spot was cleared last inning when David Peralta pinch hit for Trevor Cahill, so Schultz can give the Diamondbacks a couple of innings here.
Aaron Hill throws him out. A tremendous play by the D-backs second baseman to get the second out here in the 7th.
I was just about to say, if Schultz can give him a couple, maybe 3 innings, that bullpen with 1 day completely off after the 15-inning game should be back in good shape again tomorrow. What a play by Aaron Hill. That ball was hit hard up the middle of the field. Couple of steps and a dive, throws from his knees in time to get Kozar at first.
Let's make that our Chaz Roberts air conditioning cool play of the game as Aaron Hill keeps his cool and throws out the red shortstop. So here's Leake, who will hit for himself in the 7th. Working on what is now a 4-hit shutout. It looked like it skipped off the side of the mound a bit too.
Might have helped just a little bit. Hits that side of the mound and ricochets back a little bit toward Aaron Hill's fielding position.
95 elevates for a strike. Leake had an RBI single in the second. He can hit for a pitcher. That's out of play. Bo Schultz during a long road through college, the minor leagues, independent ball. He'll turn 29 in the fall, and he admits there were times where he said, "What am I doing?" But he stuck with it, and now here he is in the big leagues, and he strikes out Mike Leake. We will go to the 8th. What a great play by Aaron Hill. We'll see him hit here in the 8th. Diamondbacks down 3-zip.
Sports Arizona is brought to you in part by Lone Butte Casino. You're in for more winning moments at Lone Butte Casino. And by Cox Communications. Bundle and save with Cox.
Hey fans, follow every D-backs game with MLB.com at bat. You can do it on your favorite mobile phone or tablet. You'll get live look-ins, instant replay, scores, stats, audio, a free MLB.tv game of the day, and more. So download on the App Store or visit dbacks.com today. Mike Leake. Diamondbacks faced Mike Leake earlier this year. That was May 30th at Chase Field, and Leake got the victory. What turned out to be a 6-4 Reds win. He allowed 4 runs on 6 hits in 6 innings. He struck out 4. He has been much more effective here tonight, working on a 4-hit shutout as he starts the 8th at 93 pitches. Ender Inciarte 0 for 3. First pitch swinging. That is off the glove of Santiago, who's made every play and then some over there tonight, but couldn't quite corral that one, and Inciarte's aboard.
Nice effort by Santiago. I don't believe he was going to be able to get Ender Inciarte after he dove for this ball up the middle, but you're right. He's just been sucking up everything hit his direction.
5th hit for the Diamondbacks, and here's Aaron Hill. Aaron has reached on an error and been hit by a pitch. Sam LeCure had been throwing earlier in the previous inning for the Reds, and now big Jonathan Broxton is warming here in the 8th. Broxton worked last night, 1 inning through 11 pitches. Two and 0. Mike Leake looks like he's starting to hit the wall a bit here. Well, he has been very effective, Bob. 6 strikeouts. He's given up only 5 hits.
Now, sometimes trying to hold a shutout, it's a little more stressful out there on the mound. He's had good stuff tonight. The cutter's been a really valuable pitch for him. He's mixed in just enough breaking balls. Hasn't really thrown too many change-ups, but for Mike Leake, everything works off the fastball, either the sinker or the cutter, and he's had a good one tonight.
And 2-0 to Hill. Aaron laces that one down the left field line and just misses it. Ender Inciarte, head down all the way. Hey, where's the ball? How come no one else is running? Al Gibson had the call down at 3rd.
Just a little bit too much side English. That ball curving down the 3rd base line ends up in foul territory.
Ender was looking to score on that one from first.
Yeah.
Inside, 2-2. Mike Leake out to throw pitch number 100. He is our APS Energy All-Star so far through 7+, only 5 hits and 6 strikeouts.
Really, the Diamondbacks' best chance was in that 7th inning, a 2-out double by Parra, then followed by a Didi Gregorius single, and then David Peralta pinch hitting for Trevor Cahill smoked the ball to straightaway center field, almost got over the head of Billy Hamilton, but he was able to jump up and make the catch for the last out of the inning.
100 pitches now for Mike Leake, 70 for strikes. 2-2 to Aaron Hill. Inciarte at first. Got him. 7 strikeouts for Leake. Paul Goldschmidt. Mike Leake very, very efficient and consistent. Goldie hitless tonight. He was 1 for 5 in last night's marathon. Goldie was leading the planet in just about everything for the month of July not too long ago, but he has cooled off a bit lately. The average down to 302. And over his last 8 games, he's hitting about 190. He has struck out 13 times in his last 34 at-bats. Two for 15 career against Mike Leake. Off there, and it's 3-1.
Cutter, that's been his go-to pitch every time he's had to make a big pitch. That's the one he's most comfortable with, the one he has the most command of. Puts it right on that outside corner, moving away from Goldie. So they're going to come inside with the cutter this time.
Called strike 3. Chris Guccione rings him up on a borderline strike. 2 down. Borderline at best.
At best. It just speaks to the command that Mike Leake has of that cut fastball. A lot of right-handed pitchers can only throw it to the glove side, but he works it on both sides of the plate.
8 strikeouts for Leake. 2 down in Ciarte at first, and now here's Miguel Montero, who's 1 for 3. Diamondbacks have been out hit 7-5. They trail it 3-0. Had to hit him. And the Diamondbacks with 2 outs in the 8th will get the tying run to the plate and Mark Trumbo. Here comes Brian Price.
Trying to go inside with that cutter to Miguel Montero. Mesoraco almost disappeared behind Miggy as he gives that target. And the cutter runs in there and catches Miggy on the inside of the left forearm.
And Brian Price is asking his catcher Mesoraco what happened. Hit by pitch is subject to review. And now Price, after checking in with Guccione, will make a mound visit. Broxton has been warming in the Reds bullpen with Leake at 109 pitches. And that's going to be it. There will be no shutout tonight for Mike Leake. Diamondbacks with 2 outs in the 8th have the tying run at the plate. Back after this. stop by this month's participating Fry's Food Store in Prescott Valley, and you can enter to win 2 seats aboard the Fan Express bus. You will get transportation to and from the D-backs game at Chase Field on August 24. For more information, visit foxsportsarizona.com. Diamondbacks 2 outs, tying run at the plate here in the 8th. And on for the Reds, we saw him last night, Big John Broxton, 599 career strikeouts, so 1 away from 600. And he's in there to face Mark Trumbo, who has struck out 3 times tonight, 0 for 3. He launches that one to center field. Hamilton has room. Way back to the track. And Broxton throws 1 pitch and ends the threat. Diamondbacks trail it 3-zip. As a winner in our AT&T fan photo contest, Bob Brenly, your thoughts?
Yeah, it's all right. You know, middle of the road. Wouldn't give it an A, wouldn't give it an F. Got some nice D-backs fans there wearing their paraphernalia. Got the beads on and everything. I'd give that a solid B-.
Nice selection there for Lewis from Ken Phelps, Digger in the radio booth. And thanks to all of you who tweeted in your fan photos, brought to you by AT&T. Bo Schultz back out there for the gate. They'll work to the top of the order. It's Billy Hamilton, Ramon Santiago, and Todd Frazier. Aroldis Chapman, the show that he put on last night was out of hand. Out of hand. Hit 104. In fact, somebody wrote a whole article on that at MLB.com, breaking down every pitch that Hamilton threw, or that Chapman threw, as he put on a show. Here is Billy Hamilton, doubled and scored. Back in the first, right back to the mound. Schultz has it. 1 pitch, 1 out in the 8th. So in 2 games so far, Billy Hamilton, one of those was a 15-inning game, keep in mind. Billy Hamilton has only reached base 1 time. Here's Ramon Santiago. .94 from Schultz for a strike, 0-1. Santiago 0 for 3. Fans, Fox Sports Supports is proud to collaborate with Stand Up to Cancer, a groundbreaking initiative created to accelerate innovative cancer research that gets new therapies to patients quickly and saves lives now. For more information, visit foxsportsupports.com. Schultz, a one pitch out to Hamilton. He's ahead 0-2 on Santiago. Schultz didn't actually start pitching until his junior year at Northwestern. That was back in 2007. He left school with a journalism degree there. Figured he'd go right someplace. Was not drafted out of college. That one got Santiago in the foot. Or in the knee, maybe?
I think in the back knee, yeah.
Knee is still down.
Another look at it here. Fastball inside. Santiago just hits the top part of the baseball right off of that back knee. And he's being attended to by a familiar face for Diamondbacks fans, Paul Lassard, who was the trainer in Arizona during the World Championship season and years after. Went on to Boston, got another World Series ring. We used to joke with him. He's working his way through the alphabet. Got an A ring, a B ring. Now he's with the Reds, hoping to get a C. Then he'll probably go to Detroit, and after that, he's on his own.
1-2 to Santiago. Bo Schultz was a senior pitching for Northwestern. He went 3-8 with a 9.23 ERA. And it looked like that was going to be it for him, but he was able to sign a contract as an undrafted free agent with the Oakland A's. And it was when he was in Oakland that the A's had a guy named Brad Ziegler who they had successfully converted into a submarine guy. They went to Bo Schultz. They said, hey, we got this guy Ziegler. That's working out pretty good. Why don't you try that? And he did, although with Bo it really didn't take. 3-2 is hit softly out to left for Trumbo. And so after Bo Schultz gave up the submarine thing and went back to throwing overhand, suddenly he was throwing 100 miles an hour. And he has ever since.
You see the way he's throwing now, and you wonder why anybody would mess with his delivery. I mean, that fastball is explosive in the strike zone.
Frank Sinatra, Old Blue Eyes on the PA for Todd Frazier's walk-up music. So you like what you see here?
Yeah, so far so good. Nice breaking ball right there to start the sequence to Todd Frazier, a first ball fastball hitter, and he didn't want to just feed one in there to him, so he rolled that slider up there at 83 to jump ahead in the count. There's another one. Good slider starting on the outer third and breaking out of the zone.
Pretty.
Yeah.
'94 goes upstairs, but Frazier lays off 1-2. This is a guy that will strike out a lot, Todd Frazier. Nearly 22% of the time he's up there this year. Called strike 3, ring him up. And Bo Schultz gets his second strikeout. He has worked 2 1-2-3 innings and retired all 6 he's faced. CenturyLink, your link to what's next. It's the 9th. Diamondbacks are down 3-0. Gila River game summary. Boy, it's a shame that the Diamondbacks haven't been able to generate any offense, because Trevor Cahill looked terrific, got 11 ground ball outs, retired 11 straight at one point, and Bo Schultz, Bob, has worked a pair of 1, 2, 3 innings in relief.
Really unfortunate. Trevor threw the ball extremely well tonight. A few of them got away from him, but for the most part, he didn't walk a batter. Got the ground ball outs, which is when you know Trevor's on top of his game. Unfortunately, just absolutely no offensive support.
And now they will deal once again with this guy, Aroldis Chapman, who last night was hitting 104 miles an hour. He has recorded the fastest ever major league pitch at 105.1, which is his license plate, by the way, and he's on for the second time of the series. He struck out the side last night in the ninth, got Goldie, Trumbo, and Montero. Chapman last night threw 20 pitches. 15 of them were fastballs. None were clocked at less than 101. He hit I'm sorry, Bob. He hit 104 on a pitch to Goldie. Hit 103 5 times last night.
Yeah, we saw every Diamondbacks hitter he faced choke up on the bat last night, including Paul Goldschmidt about an inch. Miguel Montero got up off the knob of the bat about an inch, just trying to be a little bit quicker and get to that explosive heater.
Aroldis Chapman has now struck out 20 batters in 8 2/3 innings this month. That is a strikeout per 9 innings ratio of nearly 21. So he's striking out this month about 21 batters per 9 innings. That's pretty good. And he has extended, at least he did last night, his major league record for most consecutive relief appearances with at least one strikeout. 44 straight, dating back to last August. Prado, Parra, Gregorius 6, 7, and 8 in the Arizona ninth, down 3-0. Toying with him now at 99.
Velocity's way down, 100 and then 99. He's losing it.
Somebody asked Paul Goldschmidt, have you ever seen or been in there against a guy that was throwing like that hard, that consistently? There's 98 for a strike. And Goldie said, yeah, it's, as far as velocity, it's about 4 miles an hour faster than anything I've ever seen. 2-1.
Chapman came in blazing last night. It looks like he's kind of easing into it here tonight. Only one pitch at triple digits through the first 4 deliveries.
Well, Chapman last night was well rested. He hadn't pitched since Saturday, although he earned a 4-out save in that outing. A couple of days off, he says he felt fresh. Prado at 101, the emergency hack. One of the keys of the game from Bob Brenly at the start tonight. 11. Yeah. Was it 10-11? Well, the Reds have now scored 3 or fewer runs in 11 straight games. Last time they had a streak that long, 1967. Easy play for Chapman. 1 down. But so far tonight, 3 has been enough. Gerardo Parra doubled in the 7th. He's 1 for 3. Doing that jumping thing again. It's like House of Pain up there. This guy's House of Pain. getting up into triple digits. So
it can't be any treat for a left-handed hitter to face Chapman. Now, that being said, he's not as funky as a lot of lefties that had the low arm angle, but that pure over-the-top delivery producing triple digits, that's tough to hang in there.
He's got it cranked up to 102. Probably even more uncomfortable for Parra, who, as we showed you a moment ago, has been hit by a Chapman pitch. So that's in the back of the mind somewhere, I'm sure. 1-1. 88.
Little slider that time.
A couple of those last night. I know some guys in this league that can't throw it as high as 88.
No, not on their best day.
2 balls and 2 strikes. On a hop to Santiago. 2 down. Didi Gregorius, last man standing. Didi Gregorius, couple of hits tonight. He tripled in the 3rd and singled his last time up back in the 7th. Good crowd here tonight, more than 33,000 on hand. And the Reds an out away from evening up this series of the game of peace. Series finale tomorrow afternoon. No TV for that one. Radio only. Arizona Sports 98.7 FM. As an afternoon game here in Cincinnati. Morning back home in the great state of Arizona. 1-0. Chapman trying to close it for Mike Leake, who was outstanding tonight. Leake 7 2/3 scoreless, gave up only 5 hits and had 8 strikeouts. 1-1. Diamondbacks have got very good pitching as well, and very encouraging outing from Trevor Cahill tonight. 11 ground ball outs. He retired 11 straight at one point. 2 scoreless innings for Bo Schultz in relief. Just up from Reno today. 2 balls and a strike to Didi. Two and 2. This guy's a show, man. I mean, it's a show, and they love it here. The ball game, and the Reds have even the series and a game apiece. They take the middle game of this 3-game set, 3-0.